The richest person in human history wasn't Bezos, Musk, Gates, or Rockefeller. It was a 14th century African king who accidentally destroyed Egypt's economy just by being generous. His name was Mansa Musa. He was worth $400 billion in today's money, and most people have never even heard of him. This is his story. It's 1312. Most of Europe is barely scraping by, recovering from famine with plague on the horizon. Kingdoms fight over scraps of territory. Meanwhile, in West Africa, the Mali Empire stretches across an area larger than Western Europe. And here's the critical part. Mali controls roughly half of the world's gold supply. When Mansa Musa inherited the throne in 1312, he didn't just maintain this wealth, he turned Mali into the richest state on earth. He conquered 24 cities and secured control over the gold-producing regions that made his empire legendary. But nobody outside Africa knew just how wealthy he was, until 1324, when he decided to make his pilgrimage to Mecca. When most people make a pilgrimage, they pack light, maybe some food, a change of clothes, essentials for the road. Mansa Musa did not pack light. His caravan included 60,000 people. 60,000. It included soldiers, officials, entertainers, merchants, and 12,000 personal slaves, each dressed in fine Persian silk, each carrying 4 pounds of gold bars. Then there were the camels. 80 camels, each loaded with 300 pounds of gold dust. We're talking about tens of thousands of pounds of gold moving across North Africa like a slow-moving golden tsunami. And at every stop, Mansa Musa gave gold away. Lavishly, generously, almost recklessly. When the caravan arrived in Cairo in July 1324, the city had never seen anything like it. Mansa Musa handed out gold to the poor, to scholars, to religious leaders, to government officials. He tipped servants in solid gold. He bought every luxury item in the markets and paid for it in gold. He funded the construction of mosques. He gave so much gold to the Sultan of Egypt that it became an embarrassment. And here's where the economics get devastating. Gold is valuable because it's rare. But when one man floods an entire economy with massive quantities of gold, the laws of supply and demand kick in hard. Within weeks, gold became so common in Cairo that its value plummeted. Merchants who had been wealthy found their savings worthless. The price of everyday goods skyrocketed. Historians estimate that Mansa Musa's generosity caused inflation so severe that it took Egypt's economy 12 years to recover. 12 years. One man, one trip, economic devastation. It wasn't a war. It wasn't a plague. It was generosity on a scale the world had never seen. After Cairo, the caravan continued to Mecca. Once there, Mansa Musa fulfilled his religious obligations. He commissioned mosques, paid workers in pure gold, purchased properties, and funded schools. But on the way back, somewhere between Mecca and Cairo, Mansa Musa realized what he'd done. He'd broken Egypt. So he decided to fix it. On his return journey, he stopped in Cairo again. But this time, instead of giving gold away, he borrowed it. He took out loans from Egyptian merchants at extremely high interest rates, rates that would have bankrupted most kings. But for Musa, it wasn't about the cost. It was about restoring balance. By taking gold out of circulation, he helped stabilize the currency. He was so rich that he could afford to fix an economy he'd accidentally destroyed. This wasn't just wealth. This was wealth with a conscience. When Mansa Musa returned to Mali, he brought back scholars, architects, poets, and administrators from across the Islamic world. Back home, he set his sights on transforming Timbuktu from a trading outpost into the intellectual and cultural capital of the world. He commissioned the Jingareber Mosque, which still stands today over 700 years later. He built Sankore University, which became one of the most important centers of learning in the Islamic world. Scholars from across Africa, the Middle East, and Europe traveled to Timbuktu to study mathematics, astronomy, medicine, law, and literature. At its peak, Timbuktu held hundreds of thousands of manuscripts. It became a city where knowledge was as valuable as gold. And Mansa Musa funded it all. Here's where the story gets even more interesting. Before Mansa Musa's pilgrimage, European maps barely acknowledged Africa's interior. The continent was largely blank space. But after 1324, everything changed. Rumors of his wealth spread across the Mediterranean. By the 1370s, European maps began depicting Mansa Musa as a central figure. The Catalan Atlas of 1375 shows Musa sitting on a throne, holding a golden scepter and a massive gold nugget. The inscription reads, "This black lord is called Musa Mali, lord of the blacks of Guinea. So abundant is the gold in his country that he is the richest and most noble king in all the land." In an era when European kings were obsessed with their own glory, cartographers deemed an African king so important that they drew him on the map of the world. Not as a conqueror, not as a threat, but as a symbol of wealth so vast it could not be ignored. So how did Mali become this wealthy? Geography, strategy, and control. Mali sat at the intersection of critical trade routes: salt from the Sahara, gold from the southern mines, goods from across the Sahel, all flowed through Mali's territory. Mansa Musa controlled it all. He taxed trade, he regulated markets, he established diplomatic relationships across North Africa and the Middle East. He created a system of governance so efficient that travelers describe Mali's roads as safer than those in Europe. Mansa Musa didn't just inherit wealth, he built systems that sustained it. Mansa Musa ruled until approximately 1337. His death marked the beginning of a slow decline for Mali. His successors couldn't maintain the same level of control. Within a century, Mali's dominance had faded. But even in decline, the legend endured. His name became synonymous with wealth, and Timbuktu remained a symbol of African intellectual achievement for centuries. So why don't more people know about Mansa Musa? History is written by the victors. For much of modern history, African narratives were erased or rewritten by European colonizers who had a vested interest in portraying Africa as backward. The truth is far more complex. At the height of the Mali Empire, while Europe was mired in feudalism, West Africa had thriving cities, universities, trade networks, and systems of governance that rivaled anything in the medieval world. Mansa Musa's story forces us to reckon with the fact that wealth, power, and intellectual achievement existed on that continent long before European contact. Let's put his $400 billion in perspective. Jeff Bezos, at his peak, was worth around $200 billion. Elon Musk hovers around the same. The Rockefellers were worth an estimated $400 billion adjusted for inflation. Mansa Musa is in that range, but he lived in the 14th century. No stock markets, no tech monopolies, no oil empires. His wealth came from controlling a single resource, gold. And he controlled so much of it that he could destabilize entire economies just by being generous. That's not just wealth. That's power on a level most modern billionaires will never touch. Mansa Musa died around 1337. His empire eventually fell. The gold that once flowed through Mali's markets now sits in museums and central banks around the world. But his story remains. The king who crashed economies by being too generous. The ruler who turned a trading post into the intellectual capital of the world. The man whose wealth was so legendary that European cartographers drew him on their maps. He controlled half the world's gold. He built universities that attracted scholars from 3 continents. He gave away so much wealth that it took 12 years for Egypt to recover. And yet, most people have never heard his name. That's not an accident. That's a choice about which stories get told and which get forgotten. But history doesn't stay buried forever. Mansa Musa's legacy endures, not in buildings or gold, but in the reminder that wealth, power, and greatness have always existed everywhere, including in places we've been taught to overlook. If this changed how you see history, subscribe. There are 1,000 stories like this waiting to be told.